Before I talk about the 15 months since the last ARM and our future plans, we should pause for a moment to remember the healthcare workers and others who lost their lives while serving the public during this pandemic. I would like to start now by thanking Richard Rawlins, the first chair of the Retired Members Committee. Thank you, Richard, for the smooth handover and the work you did paving the way for the effective working of the committee. The creation of the Retired Members Committee in 2018 gave retired members the recognition they deserve as a branch of practice. We have 11,000 retired members, approximately 7% of the BMA membership. The title branch of practice may seem somewhat incongruous when the members are retired, but it is this recognition that gives us the ability to play a full and meaningful role in the activities of the BMA. We are now well placed to raise the profile of retired members in our association. For example, as chair, I'm a member of BMA Council, the Strategic Reference Group, and can also attend meetings of the ARM Agenda Committee. I see a future in which retired members are increasingly active in making appropriate contributions to the work of our association. For obvious reasons, the COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in two phases of activity for the Retired Members Committee and its officers. In the first phase, up until March, it was business as usual. I'm pleased to say that our traditional retired members' lunches with visiting speakers were held in all the UK nations with the exception of Northern Ireland, where a planned meeting unfortunately had to be cancelled. While social distancing is still the norm, the committee is looking at the possibility of virtual lunchtime events, either local, national or UK-wide. As a young committee, we have looked at our constitution and standing orders and will be seeking some changes to enable the committee to better serve members' interests. We expect to take proposals to the organisation committee this autumn. Retirement for doctors is not always a clean break from work, and we are considering how we might improve the membership definition to reflect this. Our annual conference in March was one of the first BMA events to be cancelled as a result of the coronavirus. It may seem obvious now, in retrospect, that the event should have been cancelled. However, in early March, when final preparations were underway, it was less obvious. As chair of the conference, I was supported by the other conference officers and BMA chief officers in reaching the decision to cancel. This support was much appreciated. The cancellation of our conference was very disappointing. Firstly, we had an excellent lineup of eminent speakers for our theme of productive, healthy ageing. Secondly, the conference was going to explore how retired members might contribute to encouraging and supporting young people in applying for places at medical school, particularly those young people from less advantaged backgrounds. We will continue to look at how we can help to do this in the current climate. When we cancelled the face-to-face conference, an excellent set of motions had already been submitted. I'm pleased to say that the conference members were able to vote on these motions electronically. And later in the year, following the cancellation of the 5-day ARM in June, moving to this one-day virtual ARM, retired members reviewed and submitted new motions in line with the special criteria set by the Agenda Committee. The second part of our year, the pandemic phase, soon had retired members the subject of considerable BMA work. The GMC had announced that some doctors would be invited to rejoin the medical register to allow them to return to work in the NHS and to support the response to COVID-19. Detailed guidance material for doctors considering returning to work was published on the BMA website, and newsletters were sent. I'm very grateful to the many BMA staff that worked long hours and weekends to ensure that the BMA response was of the highest standard. The commitment and quality of work by staff and branches of practice was truly impressive and shows what a strong and cohesive association we are. Our Chief Executive, Tom Grenier, and the Chief Officers are to be commended for their leadership in responding to the unprecedented circumstances we faced. Tom held an early morning teleconference 3 times a week for the first 3 months. This brought together chief officers, service heads from across the UK, branch of practice chairs and others to consider COVID-related matters as they arose. These meetings continued throughout August, although less frequently. Much of the BMA's approach to supporting its members and the excellent press and media work arose from the wide-ranging discussions at these early morning meetings. Over the months, we have learnt that the experience of returning to work did not always run smoothly for some of our members. There were GMC and employment issues. We are now looking at what lessons can be learnt and hope that the GMC and NHS employers can take these on board in any further plans. As a retired public health doctor and chair of the Retired Members Committee, I have been well positioned to support some of the wider COVID-19 work of the BMA. Examples are the positions the BMA has taken on coming out of lockdown, pandemic control measures, and risk management for UK tourism. My final slide speaks for itself, listing some key areas for our work next year. I'll give you a moment to read it. Finally, and importantly, I must thank our Secretariat, Laura Clark and Sally Ann Cole, for the careful support and wise guidance they have given over the last 15 months. The committee could not function effectively without Laura and Sally Ann working in the background to keep us on the right track and to integrate our work with that of the wider BMA. Thank you also to my deputy, Stephen Miller, and to the members of the committee. So, to summarise, a year when we have increasingly found the opportunities we now have as a fully fledged branch of practice. Retiring from work gives new opportunities to contribute to BMA activity. I would encourage any retired member interested in becoming more involved. There are opportunities at division, regional and national level. Thank you.